Hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and it is Friday, and today we're going to be talking about resisting temptation. As you may know, we do a series of broadcasts, 3 a week, and as in all things that we do, trying to get this slightly better angle here, as in all things we do, we're talking about coping with your love, your life, and all the other problems that come about. And so here is the point that we wanted to make up. Hi there, that we wanted to talk about today. Hi, Jody. We wanted to talk about how to change your life by resisting things that are not working for you. And by the way, just before I start, I did want to say that I was giving a coaching session to somebody. Hi there, Ali. I was giving a coaching session to somebody who's going in for an interview. And she said to me, "How very Canadian." And I said, "What?" And she said, "Look at your color scheme in your kitchen." And she said, "That is so incredibly Canadian, the black, red, and white." And then I realized that in my bathroom, I have a red robe, white carpets. It's just like, I never ever realized that before. How about that? Anyway, so the whole thing about resisting is it is a choice. It's not an easy one. Hi, Nyasha. It's not an easy one, but it is a choice. So part of what I wanted to talk about was what choices we make to resist things and what choices we don't make. So what I have put together with the help of both Jody and Lauren is a few little reminders about ways that you can change your life. I really do want to get this slightly different. Ooh, there goes the light. Okay, we can do this, people. Yeah. If I bend my knees, it's perfect, right? Anyway, so what we can do is that we can do little things to make a big difference. And that is what I want to talk about today, is the things that other people are doing that are changing their lives. And so if you've got any stories about this, I'd really appreciate it if you would keep sending them in to me so that I can include them and give other people hope. Okay, I'm just sorting out the two screens so I can have your screen as well. Hi, Nyasha. And I thank you for your note, Nyasha. It was good to know that that you thought my fridge and freezer were tidy. I think they're a mess, but I'm first of all trying to fill up my freezer to find out, okay, that's how much it will take. And then resist the temptation to put anything more. My sadness, Nyasha, is I've only got half of what is in my original house. For those of you who don't know, I'm in the process of moving from my old house into this one. This house is empty other than a futon and a television set, but it does have Wi-Fi. That was the first thing I put in. So let's start by saying that if you're watching for the first time, welcome, and feel free to participate if you want to. If you are somebody that doesn't come in very often, or I don't recognize the name as being a regular, I will probably ask you if I can repeat what you say, because sometimes people forget that this is going out on broadcast and replay after the live broadcast. So I will try and protect you in that way. Or if I think for any reason, I've done it with people who are absolutely long-time regulars, and I'll see something come up and I go, I wonder if they want that out in the universe or not. And so I will check with them. So just feel free to participate if you want to, or just listen and learn. And we all learn, and that includes the person right here. We all learn because we all fall into the traps all of the time. And I was thinking that we are only, about a month away from Lent. Am I right on that, Jody? I think February the 26th or something. Anyway, so what I was thinking was, this is a good time for us to start thinking about things we can resist if we choose to. All right, Nyasha's saying she loved the labels on my different bags in my freezer to tell me what's there. You know, I learned a trick, Nyasha, that investing in one of these things is really good. And the other trick I learned is when you finished with the bag or whatever it is, the mason jar, I take the labels off and keep them and you reuse them. Lent begins on the 26th of February. I was right. Okay, so we're going to be taking step by step, and I've got some nice stories to tell, but I'd like you to tell me your stories. I have one of my own that I'd like to start with because it was such a big deal for me. I was not feeling too great yesterday, and I'm still not sure whether I actually got a cold or whether what I'm struggling with right now is allergies. I did take a pill, yeah. You know, Jodie's going, did you take your allergy pill? Yeah, I did. So I found out that if I spread my legs far enough, I can get the right height. But I could end up on the floor, so bear with me here. So what happened was I was feeling really hungry. I was trying to do a 16-hour fast, and I had to stop in at the gas station to quickly pick up some milk on the way back. And yeah, Jody's saying, you heard me? And I'm going, yes, Jody, I always hear you. I don't know if you saw in last night's vlog, Jody, that I literally said something and I just picked up the water bottle because I knew you were saying, have you had hydration? You know, are you hydrating properly, Sal? You really are quite delightful. But I do hear you, yes. And I thank you for caring that much. All right, so here I was, I'm picking up some milk and I popped in. And by the way, the first thing I saw was a young child take some candy and stick it in his pocket, which that was a difficulty for me. So, you know, did I want to approach the mother? No, not really. And, you know, I wondered how store owners deal with that. How do they if they're pretty sure that a child put something in their pocket, how do they approach that, I wonder? All right, Nyasha's saying, I saw that you froze fruits and then put them in your water. A splendid idea. I'm going to do that now. Yes, if I've got fruit that's about to go off, Nyasha, by the way, if you use apple, then just put a little bit of lemon juice in there because that'll stop the apple going brown. I'm pretty sure you already know that. You were told by your doctor to never freeze fruits. Really? Okay. No comment on that one. I'm not sure why that would be, but I'm certain. I just, to me, it's like if I've got, you know, raspberries only last a couple of days. So if I haven't used my raspberries, after a couple of days, I freeze them and then use them for my smoothies and things. All right, so here I was in the store trying to buy some milk with the kid that I thought was stealing. And right in front of me, I'm not joking, just right here, Mars bars. Now, those of you who are regulars, you know Mars bars are my favorite. And I'm looking at Mars bars and I'm looking at Crunchy bars and Milky Way. Yeah. And you know, it was so funny because I was actually salivating. Do any of you know that feeling where you literally, you know, can feel the saliva build up in your mouth as you're looking at these things? And I'm going, gosh, that looks good. But I knew for a fact that if I picked it up and bought it, I would eat it immediately. I would consume it in the 5 minutes between where I was and home, my new home, this home. And so I literally stood there and I looked at it and I smiled and I went, very pretty packaging and very clever placement of this packaging for me, because this would be the place to catch me. And, I tried to find a good thing in it. and then I... the doctor said not to, that's interesting, Jody, not to put fruit in water. Okay, tell me more about that. I've thought everybody did that with the diffusing stuff, that they've got those little diffuser things. Wait, I actually know where they are in my house now. These things that you put fruit in and then put it in your water. So help me understand this. I thought that was the whole reason why we had these. Okay. I like freezing it first because then they are twofers. They not only give you flavor, but they also give you cool. Way cool. Anyway, so I managed to resist the temptation and therefore make it all the way through to my 16 hours of fast by finding a good thing about it. Do you understand that? I went, well, nice packaging, nice placement. That was a really good place to put candy if you wanted me to buy it, because boy, did I want to buy it the moment I saw it, but I choose not to. Those were my words. I choose not to. And I kept saying them. Yes, very nice, but I choose not to pick it up. Very, very difficult. Okay, so Nyasha said no, her doctor told her to put fruits in water and drink them. Yes, but I never knew that my way before. Oh, it's not about tasting better. It's about preserving what's left of fruits that, otherwise, starting. If I see an apple that, that's not looking too healthy for any reason, or maybe an orange that's beginning to get a bit too soft, that when you start to see it, it's not quite at its best, then I just cut them up and I freeze them, and then I use them in my water or in my smoothies. Just what I do. I didn't realize that was, but it's good there. I'm glad it helped you, Nyasha. All right, now I was thinking about different things that I resist in a day, and I'm just throwing out some things here that I hope will in some way get some of you thinking twice on certain things. You know that I'm really looking on how to downsize and also minimize the cost in my house. And one of the things that I noticed was I am resisting the temptation to put a whole lot of detergent in my washer. And I'd just like to show you something. I'll be right back. The first thing is I wanted to let you know that if you want to find out how much soap is still in your clothes, if you have a washer that has a window in it in any way, try doing one black load and don't put any detergent in. And you will be amazed how much soap comes out. Or, do one white load and don't put any detergent in. And you'll be amazed how much soap is still left in your clothes. That's the first thing. So that when I realized that, because I did it by accident one day, I turned the washer on the black load without putting the detergent in. And, when I went, yikes, look at the soap in there. And so that was one thing that I learned about. So here's my trick if you want to minimize the amount of washing powder you use. I've, my famous mason jars, but what I do is I put a whole, about half a scoop, the ones that they want you to use, half a scoop of powder in here and fill it up with water, and then I shake it up so that it is in suspension, I think that's called, right? And then I use half of it in my wash, okay? So that way I'm halving, think about that, I'm halving the amount I spend on my washing powder. Does that make sense? Just by doing that, I'm halving the amount I spend on washing powder. Now, if I have a really dirty load or something, I'm not going to do that. But for what I call the everyday stuff where I've only worn it once and what it really needs is, you know, a bit of wishy-washy, it doesn't need a whole lot of soap because there's still quite a bit of soap left in the garment itself, surprisingly enough. So that was one way that I resisted the temptation to spend where I didn't need to. Now, Beth came up with an interesting one. But before I get to that, I wanted to talk about Lauren's. Now, Lauren, I'm a great believer that the first step of changing a habit is to be aware that you've got a problem. You know, awareness is the first step, I believe. You know, the sort of wake-up call that I was pre-diabetic. I was pretty sure that I knew I was, you know, had a problem, but boy, you know, when the diagnosis came in, then I know that now it's no longer a case of I need to be more careful and I'm not being more careful. Now, once the diagnosis is in, you know, I choose to be more careful. And that doesn't mean I'm perfect, but it means that I am aware now of the problem and I hold myself accountable. I check in every day with Jody to let her know there are a couple of things that Jody, for those of you who don't know, is our admin and does a great job. Thank you, Jody. But one of the things that we're accountable to each other for is, did we get enough sleep? And, you know, it's funny because Lauren's now joined us on that, which is, how much sleep did you get? Do you know? And it's amazing when you realize that you're not getting enough sleep. And both Jody and I were struggling at one point to get 6 hours sleep. And now we're both averaging much closer to 7, I would say. Would that be fair? I know you've had a tough time in the last couple of weeks, but I think overall you've been doing a great job, Jody. And what we do is just every morning we check in. We're accountable to each other. Now, does that mean that it's going to change? No, it's not going to change. Hi, Erin. It's not going to change unless we do something about it. In other words, there's the awareness and then the accountability. But now, as in all things, it's not going to change unless you do something differently. If you keep doing what you've always done, you're always going to get what you've always got. So for us, we had to learn ways to improve our sleep. And that is an interesting one. So Lauren's story was interesting. Lauren knew, and she started this whole thing about budgeting because she said that she definitely realizes that she is spending more than she should. How many of you relate to that? She is spending beyond her means. In other words, what she's doing is dreaming that she has more money than she actually has and living the dream rather than the reality. And so what I was really impressed with was that Lauren not only saw the need to budget, but she saw the need to stop the temptation, to resist the temptation. Now, the interesting thing with Lauren was she didn't think that she was very good at resisting temptation. See, that's reality. So what she did, instead of saying, I will not spend on Wish or Amazon or whatever, she went into all those sites that automatically sent her notifications and she took herself off the notification list. Don't you think that's clever? In other words, when she checked her emails in the morning, there was not a nice little thing from Amazon saying, we thought you'd like this, so we sent it to you. Or from Wish saying, you know, you cannot live without this. And so she cut all those out. Now, that's a great way to cleanse your emails. I thought it was stealth. You know, Jody's says it's stealth behavior. Yeah, it tells us that she is serious. I think that is what I'm getting at is, one, we can be aware, but are you doing anything constructive about it? And so she cleansed her email list of all those things that are trying to get her to buy things. Now, what if it's friends? You know, how many of you got maybe friends that you need to just not see quite as much? Do you know that you can minimize, the amount that you hear from them on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, those sort of things. So be aware that you can opt out of notifications if you want to. And so and by the way, I would, one thing that I would also recommend, if you're one of those people, perhaps we don't do it as much now because of the internet, but if you get catalogs from people, what is a catalog? It's a way of making sure that you see something that you can't live without. So stop all of those if you are on a very tight budget. Now, by the way, I want to give credit to Lauren on another thing, because Lauren also, created herself a little, hang on a second, a little budgeting tool. And I thought if any of you are interested, let me know, and I will send you the link to it, because what she's done is she has created this little thing that you can print out, and it'll help you do your budget in a very simple way. What I like about it, it's very simple. It's not, it doesn't require rocket science to work it out. So if you're not good at budgeting and would like to start doing that, you give up your evil ways, if you like, then let me know and I will send you that link. I was very impressed that she did that. So we all have our own version of that. As I think I told some of you in a previous broadcast, what I do is I allow myself to window shop on Amazon and on Wish all month. Whenever I see anything, like, I go, okay, put it in the cart, put it in the cart, put it in the cart. Right? And then at the beginning of the month, I allow myself so much on Wish and so much on Amazon. And that's for what I call the frivolous buying. Now, I obviously went over it to buy the ice maker. I'm looking over there because it's next to the fridge there. You can't see it. Never mind. Anyway, so I definitely did it on, the ice maker. But I have lived for so many years with an ice maker in my fridge, and to actually have a fridge that doesn't have an ice maker was like, I've got to have ice now. And so I decided I would buy an ice maker. But here's the thing. How did I resist the temptation to buy a lot of money, spend a lot of money? What I did was I looked for, is there a refurbished one? Now, refurbished means that they sent it out to somebody didn't like it, and they returned it. Doesn't mean it was bad. And I'm pretty sure I know now why they returned it. Right? And the reason was because when you take the ice out, the drawer out that has the ice in it, it has holes in the bottom, so when the ice melts, it can melt back into the reservoir. But if you don't know that, when you first pull it out and get the ice and you put it back and you go, gosh, this thing leaks. It took me a few days to realize, no, it didn't leak. It only happened when I pulled the drawer out. And then when I pulled the drawer out, I had another look at it and I went, I can see what's happening here. Yes, you're saying, what is window shopping? All right. Window shopping is when you see things, if you walk down a street and look in the window, and you go, oh, I like that. That's called window shopping. No, it's okay, Nyasha. I love it that you ask, because you're not the only one that doesn't know. So you go right ahead, keep asking. So, if if you go into a store, you might say, oh, I like that, I like that. It's basically window shopping. You're not actually buying it, but you are mentally going, I like that. And so what I do is I have my Amazon account. And during the month, I will see things and I go, oh, I really need that. I really need that. And I really need that. And I just put them in my cart. But I don't check out my cart until the beginning of the month. And at the beginning of the month, I know I've got this budget, right? And I look at what's in the cart and I go, okay, you've only got this much money. What are you going to ditch for now? Right? And so that's how I reduce the spending on Amazon. Now, that is for what I call the frivolous buying. If it's a really important thing, like, I had to have ice, then, I knew that was part of the expense of buying the home. I already had that in the budget for things I needed to buy for the home and things I needed to get fixed in the home. Okay, so I hope that helps. Yeah, Jody said I must have so many items on my Amazon list. I put them there and they just wait while I contemplate the need. Yes, exactly. And how many times, I don't know about you, Jody, but when I go to the beginning of the month, I look at that list and I go, really? I don't think I need that. Okay, that one, yeah, I really would like that one. So it'll stay for now. And then I go through it and I deduct things. And then at the end, I see how I've done. And if I haven't got down to what I need, I start again. By the way, I do that. I shop online a lot. Actually, I need to start doing it now in the new home. But I shop online because it saves me a lot of money. I found that my shopping expenses dropped when I started to buy things online because there was no impulse buying. But I do the same thing, Jody, with that, which is I will, go down the list and click everything that I want. And then I will go to the cart and I'll go, that's double my budget. So then I go through the list and go, do I really need that? And I just go through it. And again, if I don't get it down to my budget in the first run, I go back and do it a second time. Okay. What's Nyasha saying here? Does placing something in the cart on the shopping website doesn't mean you've bought it. It means you've put it in the cart. It'll then ask you, it depends. I've got to be careful what I say here, Nyasha. Most sites, you then go to the checkout, and at the checkout, you get a final chance to decide whether you want to buy this or delete it. So I want to, I don't know what sites you're visiting, but some things like Amazon for sure, your grocery store, if that allows you to buy online, they normally allow you to do that. Yeah, Jody's saying many times I've said to myself, I can tell that was a middle of the night purchase. Why? Because only one brain cell was working, really. So I'm glad that you can relate to that. Okay, let me try and show you, Nyasha, because it's easier if you can see it sometimes. Hang on a second. So what you do is you have, all the things you can buy, and if you put it into your cart online, okay, that's all that it is. It's in the cart. You haven't actually bought it. And then this list is this long. You can go along and go, okay, I don't really need that, and I don't really need that. And then at the bottom, there is a thing, it called different things in different places, but normally it goes buy now, okay? And that's when you press the button, when you've purged the cart of 90% of what's in there, in my case. Does that help? Yeah, just seeing the picture. So you have that last minute thing. By the way, in most cases, and I don't know what the situation is in Tobago, which is where I know you are, but you also have the right to unbuy something in most cases. You know, if you find that you've done what they call an impulse buy, you know, where you didn't really think it out and you just said, oh, yes, I want that. And then afterwards you thought, no, I don't want that. You have the right to not buy it after it's been purchased. So you need to check that out. What is that called? Anybody know what that is called so that she could research it for her country? Buyer's remorse, I think. Hang on a second. Let me type that. Difficult to type at this angle, but I will try. No, that didn't work well. Jody, can you type buyer's remorse easily from where you are? I'm going to get my wireless keyboard so I can have a keyboard at a lower angle. Apparently not. So let me try here. No, still wrong. Okay, let me just see here. I give up. All right, hang on. Yes, just saying, because I've been on Amazon a couple of times, not to buy, but just window shop. Yes, there is a cooling off period, yeah, for a lot of people, but they call it buyer's remorse, I think, where you have 48 hours in some places to change your mind about something. And it can be something big, like a car or even a house or whatever. You have the right to say, look, I bought this on impulse and I didn't want it. And you have the right to reverse it. Obviously, you have to return it in the same condition that you received it. Okay, so as long as you all know that there is you can window shop and put stuff in the cart, but it doesn't mean you have to buy it. That is a choice, all right? Jody, that's the point, right? That we both understand. One is, I want it. And then the needing it is the choice. When I look at it again, and by the way, that's a really good, I love it because as Jody so rightly says, you look at it 3 days or 3 weeks later and you go, what was I thinking? Yeah, it would be nice, but I really don't need it. I want it, but I really don't need it. So that's a really good way to save money on that. All right, so I'm going to go back to the detergent idea because have any of you seen the ads for Wasilla? That's WASILLA. That is a gizmo that has special beads in it. I don't know what they are, but you can use that instead of detergent. Now, I haven't used it, and it is sort of one of those things that I would like to have a look at and try. But you imagine not having to buy detergent at all. Now, I'm not sure what it is, and I know a friend of mine doesn't buy detergent because she uses something else. So I will try and find out what she uses. The other thing is, have any of you tried to make your own detergent? Because I have, and I want to tell you that when I do it, it saves me a ton of money. It really does. Hang on a second. Let me see what Niash is saying here. Right. If you don't have a credit card, you're not going to be able to buy it. So that's actually, so that, if you haven't got the ability to buy it by credit card or PayPal, then if you don't have that ability, then don't bother to put it in the cart. Or if you find it fun putting it in the cart, do it. Yeah, just don't buy it. All right. It's interesting because you find out what you really need as opposed to what you think you want. All right, now the next thing I want to talk about is something that Beth told me um, recently, and I thought, oh, interesting. Ali's saying she doesn't make her own detergent, but she makes her own cleaner. Yes, right. So, Ali, how do you make your own cleaner? While you're typing yours, I use two. I use one that's vinegar and water, but I put some vanilla essence in it so it doesn't smell like vinegar everywhere, because the smell of vinegar in the house is not fun. So I put different essential oils into mine to make it smell nice. Or if you really want to save money, hold on one second. I found that the stuff that they sell at the dollar store is highly perfumed. I mean, really ridiculously amount of perfume. And so what I do is I buy a bottle of this and I use it to make my own air fresheners and things. I just dilute it. You know, I'll put a complete container of water and I'll do about 3 squidges of this, squidge being squeezes of this, and shake it up, and that's it. So this is a very economical way to have a nicely smelling home. All right, so now the other thing that I do is, and some of you know about this one, is to take orange peel and put it in water with some vinegar. Actually, basically just start by putting the orange peel and vinegar and just leaving it for a few days. And the oils from the orange will leach out into the vinegar. And then you put, just mix that in with some water, and it works really well. All right, so Ali's saying she uses water, vinegar, and baking soda, and a little bit of lemon juice. I'm allergic to most scented things. Yes, and if lemon juice is a wonderful smell, I think, in any house, don't you? Cinnamon is another really nice smell in any house. And if you're going, well, I don't want all those little bits, what I've found, just my experience, is if you put water and cinnamon and sprinkle cinnamon on top and shake it up so it's in suspension and let it settle, and then even strain it through a coffee filter, you'll end up with cinnamon flavored water. So that's it. So Jodie's saying the kitchen looks marvelous. All right, so disinfectant wipes, do you make your own? Ali's saying she uses disinfectant wipes occasionally. I think a lot of you know, I know this sounds insane, but I even reuse paper towel. I'll use paper towel during the day and I just throw it into the sink. And at the end of the day, I rinse it all out. I put it flat on my countertops to dry overnight. And here's my paper towel stack for today. So, this is it's amazing. Now, how much money am I saving by this? I think I just enjoy doing it for the sake of doing it. You know what I mean? It's just it's amazing. That's how many I used yesterday and recycled. So let me just see here what Niash is saying. Okay, I'll wait for her to finish that so that I can tell the whole story. So this is the whole thing. You can make, for example, and get these back again. For example, you can get, maybe you've got a plastic container or something, and you can just drop these in and throw in some Lysol and let the Lysol be absorbed by the paper towels. And again, put them out overnight, let them dry. You got yourself a disinfectant wipe. Or if any of you have got an old wet wipe type container, you can you can learn to interleaf them, and that also works. All right, so what's Josie saying? Imagine if 50% of households also did that, Sal. It would have an impact. Yeah, a great habit to get into because builds positive momentum. Well, it's little things that I'm finding. And it's not so much, me, it's not so much about saving vast amounts of money. It's about, can I do something to use less paper? And one of the things I thought was, I thought, surely you can't wash paper towel. I know that you can definitely wash wet wipes and you reuse them. For those of you who use wet wipes, definitely, they are very strong. And I found out that these, I literally, sometimes I'll just have a jar with some water in it and I just stuff them in all day. And then before I go to bed at night, I clear up my kitchen, I clean out my fridge, and then I take my bottle and I, dump it into the clean sink. And then I just rinse them out because they've been soaking in disinfectant and water all day. So all I do is rinse them out and then I put them on my countertops to dry. And as I get up in the morning, I just fold them up and put them away. Just a thought. So, this is about cleansing my need to have brand new paper towels. Yes, I think Jodie's saying, I love it, that the thought process behind it and the attitude of what can I do? Well, I think that is what they always say, don't they? Think globally, but act locally. In other words, if you want to save the planet, it's not about what everybody else is doing. What are you doing to save the planet? If you're talking, you want to rid the world of plastic, then what are you doing not to use it? That's the whole thing. And so as I look at it now, I quite agree with Ali, making your own disinfectant or making your own cleanser, for household cleanser, means you're not repeatedly buying bottles of plastic because you're just refilling, I presume, Ali, you're just refilling the same bottle. The other thing that I really recommend is think about buying in bulk. I buy my soft soap in a container this big, and it'll last me as long as it lasts. But what I do is I decant it into the smaller pumps that I have in my washrooms. And, it's about, I buy one big thing of plastic, and me, I will reuse that plastic if I possibly can. They make great containers, just cut the top off them, put them through the dishwasher, get them nice and clean, and then they make a really great container to put in a cupboard. And if the edge is a bit jaggy, you all know that you just put an iron on top, right? And it'll melt the plastic and make it not jaggy. All right, so Ali's saying, I also make my own face scrubs and masks instead of buying chemical-filled ones and overly priced ones. Good. Do you want to tell the viewers how you do that? Yeah, how do you make a face scrub? I'm pretty sure that I know, but it'd be interesting to hear your comment. Anyway, I want to get back to Beth's story because this was interesting. Beth decided she was going to declutter her kitchen and her bathroom, a bedroom and her kitchen, sorry. And she got rid of everything that she doesn't use on a regular basis, including a hoard of different types of shampoos and stuff. I kept what I only use on a daily basis. It looks so much neater, and now I know exactly what to buy when I am out. How many of you have cleansed your shampoos, conditioners, and most of all, how many of you have cleansed your makeup? I cleansed my makeup about 6 months ago, and I ended up with one shoebox full of makeup. And then, Jody sent me the cutest little makeup bag, and I put my daily makeup in there. But I have this shoebox of other stuff. And what I realized is, Jody, since you sent me the little makeup bag that stands up nicely, what I love about that makeup bag is it stands up. You can put it on the counter and it stands up so you can dig into it and get things. It's not always falling over and things are coming out of it. But I don't think I have gone to the other box more than once. And that makes me understand that I can actually take that makeup box and probably throw it away or donate it. Right, Ali's saying for scrubs, she uses ground coffee, the coffee grinds, what a great idea for recycling, ground coffee grinds and lemon juice and sugar, really. And then you just put it on and wait for it to dry, or do you just use it just to exfoliate? Oh, Jody, it's really funny because I would have used the cosmetic bag anyway, just because you sent it. But I want to tell you, it is the greatest one. All right, so what you do then? I just want to make sure you take some coffee grinds. Let's say you take half a cup, Ali. How much lemon juice would you put into half a cup? There are people that would sell that. What a great idea for your legs as well. Maybe have some of that in your bathroom, in your shower area. And, just before you take a shower, rub that all onto your legs and get rid of that dead skin on your legs in the winter. I think that would be a great idea. Okay, so it was coffee grinds, lemon juice, and a little bit of sugar. Okay, I got sugar to use up because I don't eat sugar anymore. So that's awesome. Ali, I really appreciate that. And that's a very simple one, and it reuses other products. And that's what I really like about it. The lemon juice and sugar is one scrub. Okay, here we go. Lemon juice and sugar is one scrub. And then coffee grounds she uses separately with coconut oil or facial oil. Funny you should say that. Because I found I had some coconut oil and I'm going, I really don't use that very much. And I got a feeling I should, but something tells me coconut oil is a solid oil and probably not good for my cardio. Am I correct on that? When coconut oil gets into your system, does it create plaque or does it not? Perhaps somebody can answer that, somebody who knows that sort of stuff. Anyway, so how many of you know, let me ask you an easy question. How many of you wear T-shirts a lot. You know I do. Yeah, I'm sure, coffee grinds for my Keurig would be ideal. So what I will start doing, and I like the idea of using it on my body before I shower, because then it just washes away into the drain afterwards. By the way, I do have to say something. It's amazing. Some things you pick up at the dollar store are just priceless. Years ago, I bought a simulated foyer type mat for my shower. Yeah, it's actually plastic, I think, of some sort. But I want to tell you, I picked that up for like $1 or $2 or something. I don't know what I would do without that mat, because every time I stand on it, I know it's loosening the skin at the bottom of my feet, and it stops me slipping, obviously. But it's that to me was like, I did not waste money on that thing. All right, Jodie's just checking for us about the coconut oil, whether it's okay in our bodies or not in terms of plaque. We'll get an answer on that one. Yeah, Ali's saying she works at a dollar store. So does Beth. Well, she works at a Dollar General, which is the US version. But it's a blessing and a curse. Absolutely. But I found a couple of things in there over the, I was really quite a snob. I never went in them, quite honestly. And then one day I did out of need. And boy, I'm going, there's sometimes, if you're a smart shopper, all my red kitchen utensils come from there, so it's about being a smart shopper rather than just going in there and buying anything. Yeah. You know what I like to do, Ali? I like to go in there and buy, one of the paintings, and then I paint over them. I cannot buy a canvas like this, a gallery canvas at the price I can buy it pre-printed at the dollar store. So I buy the dollar store one and then I paint over it. So that's what I call smart shopping. All right, the jury is out on coconut oil because although it is a healthy oil, it can still raise the LDL levels. Yeah, that's what I thought. And that's so again, like anything, Jody, perhaps use it in moderation. Yeah. So Beth's idea, I just want us all to think about that. How many of you could halve your makeup supply and still have plenty? And the other thing that Beth said was when she did her makeup, she really thought about what colors does she use. I just need to get in my bathroom for a second and come back. The reason I needed to go and find something is because, if you've, Ali's saying that Nana fuels her makeup addiction. I think that you could stop that if you wanted it to. Okay, I wanted to talk about makeup and palettes and everything. Now, Jody sent me a wonderful palette because it was all cocoa colors, which I wear. I've got green eyes, I believe. I've got green eyes, and therefore I use browns a lot when I am using, and different shades of them, all the way through to the beiges and everything else. But every now and then I'm wearing something and I need a gray or a blue or a green. And I have to tell you that I bought this palette, this box, after Christmas. Great idea to buy it after Christmas when they're trying to get rid of them. And I've probably had that 4 or 5 years. Now, I know people are telling me you should never have it for more than a year because I've got news for you. This, after 3 or 4 years, I just mix a little bit of moisturizer. I put moisturizer on the back of my hand and on my brush, and I dip it into whatever color I want. And I don't need 65 different palettes. I've got everything I need right here. Does that make sense? It's like, I understand that they're this year's color, but you know, the reason it's this year's color is they want to sell you something. And you can mix your own this year's color if you want to. So think about that. You know, I found after years of trying to find a good moisturizer for my skin, I found the best moisturizer for my skin ended up being, what do I use? Lubriderm, cocoa butter. And at 72, who has a skin as good as mine at 72? Yeah, other than the chins, but you know, the actual, all my lines from smoking have just about gone. You know, in the days that I smoked, you know, it's all my laughter lines have gone. It's amazing. So sometimes, you know, you can actually buy one thing and use it. I use it to mix my colors for my eyeshadows and stuff. Some of you know, I even did an experiment because I met somebody who told me they did this. Somebody was saying that they use cocoa, raw cocoa. I don't mean milk chocolate cocoa. I mean raw cocoa for face powder. And I did an experiment where I mixed cocoa with Johnson's baby powder to get the sort of coloring that I wanted. I've also used cocoa in moisturizer to make a foundation. And, you know, it's like, it's possible to do. So for those of you who are following us for the first time, make sure that you press the bell here if you want to be notified of when we're doing other broadcasts. On a Friday lunchtime, we always do what I call a skills broadcast, where we try and learn to do something that's going to improve our life. And on Friday evening, we try and smile a bit because it's good for the health. And then on Sundays, we do our meditation. And if ever, and I say meditation, but we do what we call our Soul Sunday, where we just take a moment to reflect a little bit, ready for the coming week. Now, some of you know that my biggest challenge at the moment, and you can't see it, unfortunately, but I have already taken half of the stuff out of my freezer in the other house. And I've now got to the stage where the freezer here is full. Now listen to what the story is. I've only taken half of what was in the other house out, and the freezer here is full. Now I've got a little bit of organization to do, but that means that I have had way too much in my freezer, which we already knew because we've been talking about it for some time. And now I'm on a mission to, as much as I can in the couple of weeks before I have to clear that freezer out completely, is to use up stuff from my freezer. And so what I was thinking, do any of you relate to the fact that you've got more in your freezer than you should? Because what I'm now doing between now and when everything arrives here on the 8th, that means that I will have until the 13th to clear that freezer out. But what I'm doing is I am making sure that I'm cooking meals out of the freezer. I'm not buying new. If I need vegetables, I am using vegetables out of my freezer. If I need meat, I am getting meat out of my freezer. If I need deli meat, I am getting deli meat, of which I have quite a bit frozen in my freezer. And I just pull out a little bit each day and defrost it. Wow. Nyash is saying no one would ever know that you smoked, because here, where I live, the skin would never be so changed. They would have a bad skin. So congrats. I want to tell you something. Not only did I smoke, Nyasha, I spent 17 years in the African sun. We're talking 35 to 40 degrees sun without sunscreen. And look at my skin. I should have skin that looks like leather right now. So, hola, Lapita, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. All right, so Ali is saying, and that's Minnie, by the way, Ali is saying, I do makeup for the theatre productions and some special events, so I have a lot. But when I run out of a certain type of makeup, like blush or face powder, I try to use my old eyeshadows to replace them. Good idea. You know what I found as well? And this is insanely simple. I got to go again. I'll be right back. Now, you need to know I've probably got as many lipsticks as I could ever want for the rest of my life. But one of the things that I have been doing is I have got this is a mood matcher type cylinder. And what I do is when I've used up a lipstick, there's that little bit that's in the bottom, like in the shell of other lipsticks. And what I do is I take a palette knife that I've got and I just take it out and I stick it in here. And then this is what I call my everyday lipstick. So what I have is a cotton wool thing, and I just literally, use it for my everyday lipstick. Because, and Ali's saying melting old lipsticks together and remodeling them is so much fun. Remolding them, sorry. So just in a double burner, how would you melt them? Great information. Thanks, Ali. But it's amazing to me. If you are prepared to do it, you probably have got enough lipstick to last you. I've probably got enough lipstick to last me the rest of my life, quite honestly. I took out one container that's all lipsticks. And we'll wait to hear how to remold them. That's really interesting. So what I'm also doing with my freezer, and I want to talk about cleansing out my freezer, is I am challenging myself not to put anything new into my freezer for a month, unless I do a roast. Now, for example, I have somebody coming for dinner on Sunday. I actually invited somebody for dinner and they're coming. And so I will be doing a roast, and I'm waiting for her to decide whether she wants turkey or beef, but I will slice that up and then I will package it into deli type packaging so that I can bring one out every day and have it with my lunch. But I'm not doing a lot of stews and things anymore that I end up with way more than I can cope with. And I know I've got more than enough in my freezer to keep me going for a month. I really challenged myself not to go to the store to buy fresh fruit and vegetables because at the moment I have so much in my freezer. I need to be using it up. That's fruits and vegetables. So what I'm doing is every day I take some frozen fruit out of my freezer and I use it. Here, I have it for dessert. So that is my challenge, is not to buy new, but to use what I've got. Now I've got 2 roasts in my freezer. So if I can get them out of the freezer and use them, obviously that's going to make a bit more room. And as I said, one is beef and one is a turkey roast. So I am going to cook those up and then slice them up and put them into baggies. All right, let me see what Ali says here. I usually scrape them out onto a spoon and melt it above a candle. Once it melts, pour it back into the cleaned lipstick tube. How do you clean it? How do you clean the lipstick tube? Yeah, Jodie's saying first guest in the new place, well, other than Mickey and Minnie. And the answer is yes, Jodie, and it happens to be the daughter of the lady who lived here and died. And I just loved her so much. And she said she wanted to come over on Sunday to collect the mail that I collected in the mailbox. And I said, that would be great. And by the way, if you come after my broadcast, I'd gladly give you dinner. All right, thank you, Ali. Ali's saying if you want to clean out a lipstick container, use Q-tips with some makeup remover, or probably, what am I thinking of? Rubbing alcohol will probably clean it pretty well. Jodie's saying she's going to be the first invited guest. Yep. And by the way, did any of you see the vlog where I used cling wrap to seal up some very drafty drain hole type areas in my, I have a manufactured home here. I'm obviously going to get some of that squirt stuff. You know what I mean? You squirt and the foam seals things up. I'm going to be getting that. But in the meantime, I thought, what have I got that I could use that would help stop the draft? Because it was so cold. You know, when you open the drawers in the morning, or if you open the drawers on the vanities, it was so cold in there. You know, I was scared to use my talcum powder because my talcum powder was about 50 degrees, you know, and that's pretty cool on my beautiful body. So what I did was I thought, let me try putting press and seal to see if that helps. I could not believe the difference in my my vanity temperature this morning. It worked. So the other thing is, I found that, you know, when I get up in the morning, I crank the heat a bit and let the whole house really warm up. And then after I'm dressed and everything, then I just take it back to regular. And you know, it's when I say regular, I've got the fireplace. I've got a beautiful fireplace here, and I've got that on the lowest setting possible. And it is heating the living room, dining room, and kitchen area beautifully. What the other end of the house is the southern end of the house, and that gets a lot cooler. So, but I spend most of my time in this end during the day, and then obviously the other end at night. So how much would you need to drop your temperature at night when you're asleep and can't feel it? How much would you need to drop your temperature at night to have an impact on your hydro or electricity bill or gas bill? That's what I was also thinking. So what I'm going to try and do, I think by the way, what temperature do you have your house at? And it doesn't matter whether you're in Canada or the US, we'll do the conversion. I'll get my conversion thing ready, Jodie, so you don't have to worry. So let me know, what temperature do you keep your house at? Let's see. All right. So Jodie's saying they keep theirs at 68. So let's see what that is Uh-oh. No, don't give me an ad. I don't want an ad. People are waiting for an answer here. Thank you. So 68 to Celsius would be 20. All right, now that's fairly warm. That's what I've got mine at, and that's a pretty warm place. So I think that the temperature in my living area is probably more, and I'm going to be getting some thermometers to check that out. But I did get a digital one. Let me see what that says. Whew. Yeah, but this living area at the moment is way more than that. So obviously the outside temperature is warming up, which means that I need to bring down, I probably need to turn off my fireplace because I'm wasting heat, but it's very pleasant. All right, let me see, anybody else? What temperature do you keep your house at regularly? And what temperature do you have at night? I really miss my thermostatically controlled one. All right, Nyasha's saying that she has bought some glue in the local store called Plastic Welder, but I don't know how to use it. Have you tried Mr. Google? I'm not quite sure what Plastic Welder is, but I would be careful in case it is like instant glue. Let me have a look, see what I can find for you. I've never heard of it. All right, I'm just having a look here. No, hang on a second. Still haven't found what I'm looking for. Now, I'm certain some people listening are saying, read the instructions. So difficult typing at this angle. It's getting better. Yeah, I think most of those plastic welding type things are epoxies. Have you got two different containers that you put together? All right. What I would do is not use it until you've properly read all the instructions. The reason I'm saying that, a lot of those epoxies, if you get them on your hands and then you rub your eyes, that it's really bad, or you end up sticking your fingers together. It's in a double plunger. Yeah, that is an epoxy. Okay, so it's got one component on one side, the other, and when they join together, they then form the adhesive. So it's not that you can't use them, Nyasha. First of all, I would wear rubber gloves. So if you accidentally get it onto your fingers, you're not going to stick your fingers together. Or even wear household gloves, you know, the yellow ones, washing up type gloves, just until you get used to using it. It's really, you know, have you ever used super glue? Hi there, Kerry. Good to see you. Have you ever used super glue, Yasha? And the reason I ask that is no, okay. So if you ever buy super glue, be very, very careful, because you literally can stick your hands together with it, right? You won't be able to take them apart again. So, but like anything else in life, yeah, sure, everything's easy to do once you know how to do it. So it is a little difficult, but it is possible to do. And it is a little scary. Have any of you ever used an epoxy glue where you mix the two components together? I have. I've used it, when I've done fiberglass and stuff. You also use an epoxy for there. And I was really scared. And I also, I would recommend when you use those sort of things, where if you've got a mask, if you've got one, a ventilation mask sort of thing, I would use that. Make sure you do it in a well ventilated room. Open the doors and windows if you can. And if you, maybe a good idea to wear glasses if you can, in case you, and do not touch do not touch anything until you've washed your hands properly, in case you get it on your hands. So be very careful is really the bottom line. All right, so talking about cleansing on temptations, Jody found some really great quotes. And the one that I want to start with is, who says I'm not religious? Every time when I see a jar of Nutella, I humbly pass by and whisper, and lead us not into temptation. Which really made me laugh, Jody, because that is exactly what I said when I saw the Mars bar yesterday. Lead me not into temptation. It was exactly what I said. So what I want you all to think about, before we get to Lent in about a month, is what is it that's tempting you these days, right? Some of us want to adjust the way we spend money. Some of us want to adjust the way that we eat food. Yeah, Jody's saying she totally understands. She so wanted a Pop-Tart yesterday. And, you resisted it, right, Jody? And, I like the bargaining, which was, I only want one. There were more than one Pop-Tarts, and she was going, but I only want one. Now, why my glucose level was spiked a little bit today was because I ended up going back for a second helping of my favorite cookies. I allow myself 2 a day. That's my ration. And round about 2:00 in the morning, I must admit that I went back and had another 2. And when I took my blood sugar this morning, and I forgot to take my blood sugar before I had my coffee. And so it was like, well, I know why my blood sugar spiked. Okay, so Nyasha's saying she bought it for her brace. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it would work pretty well on that, but I'm amazed that they won't give you another one. If you... Oh, wait a minute. No, you live in a different country where they don't do things like that. Okay, so the other thing is I would study... is it made of plastic or fiberglass, I wonder? Right, she's saying the underside of her leg brace is disintegrating. So she's saying that hot glue doesn't work. No, it's not strong enough. Epoxy, I think, would. Yeah. But you need to be careful because if you get the epoxy coming to the inside, can you get in there and sandpaper it flat if you need to? That would be my only concern. I definitely think it would work. Now, this one I thought was a great quote that Jody found for us. And by the way, Jody, thank you so much for doing some of these quotes. But she said, "The devil doesn't come to you with a red face and horns. He comes to you disguised as everything you ever wished for." You know, and again, we were saying that the same way Lauren said, I need to change my habit of spending money recklessly. So that's what she said. I need to stop this habit of spending money recklessly. And so then she looked at, where do I spend it? And the answer was everywhere. And that's why she stopped reading, she stopped the notifications from Amazon getting to her. She stopped the Wish ads getting to her. She stopped all those notifications coming to her because they were all temptations. That to me told me that she really wants to change what she's doing. Now, I said earlier, and I want to make sure that we all agree on this. You all know that I've been on a mission to change my weight. And the most peculiar thing is that I was doing so well and I had lost about 12 pounds and then suddenly it skyrocketed. And I'm going, how is that possible? But it doesn't matter why. The answer is I need to change what I'm doing if I want to drop my weight again. And I am pleased to let you know that the graph is definitely starting to drop again. But I also know that I am doing nearly twice the exercise. And that is important as well. So, hang on a second. So you can see I've had a dramatic drop in the last, it's just since January. So I did drop quite dramatically already. So I'm looking to continue that. And when you think about it, I've been going up and down stairs 5 times a day. I've been bending and stretching. Those of you who know the blinds that I've got, I've been using the blinds. I've got these blinds that you just pull down like this. They're like a concertina, and you pull them down. And I've actually been using them as part of my workout. I literally go and bend. And then I put them down. And when I go to put them up in the morning, I go and stretch. And I can feel it in my knees. Weight loss is so hard. It is for me. And it actually isn't hard. I thought that Benji was so right in what he said to me. He said, it's simple, Sal. Eat the right foods and get enough exercise. And I wanted to add but at the end of it, and I thought about it and I went, he's right. It is that simple. I don't care whether you want to call it a diet or whatever. Eat the right foods and get enough exercise, and I will lose weight. It's not rocket science. Do you all agree with me? You want to spend less, stop spending. It's quite simple. Now, here's what I want you to ask you, because you guys are smart. If you think about your grocery list, what is on your grocery list that you could save money on? Can you think of anything? I loved Ali's input about, how to reuse lipsticks. I've been doing, my version of that for a long time, but now I know the right way to do it, Ali. So after I've poured the melted lipstick wax into the thing, I just put it in the freezer. And how long would it stay in the freezer is what I want to know. Jodie's going, oh my goodness, the blinds. You can see me doing it, right? It's really quite funny. I go, and my nighttime exercise. I go, and and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blinds that I do that with every morning now. And then at night, rather in the morning, I do them every night. And then in the morning, I go, and stretch. Well, you see, it's about, did you see on the vlog that I did? My new deck is, what did I say? 15 paces long, right? 29 feet. I think it's about 15 strides for me. If I wanted to, how many miles a day could I walk and not be in the rain? As many times as I want to go up and down that deck. That's what I realized. I don't, by the way, just walking up and down the length of this, it's more than 29 feet. This must be more like, at the carport, 20, it must be more like 50 feet. Yes, so Lupita's also saying that I started getting them delivered to avoid getting drunk and overspending. Benji is right. I've heard it's a lot about balance too. Yes, and when I thought about it, Lupita, why was my glucose up this morning? I forgot to have string cheese after the cookies. Normally I have the cookies and then I immediately counter it. If it's sweet, eat meat is my saying to myself. I forgot to eat the protein afterwards, meat being protein. I just clean forgot to take the protein in afterwards, silly me. And I paid the price. It went up a point this morning. So Ali is saying it depends on the lipstick, since some are softer than others, but usually an hour is enough time. All you have to do is to twist it up the tube slowly. If it stays in one piece, it worked. Yeah, very simple, right? If it didn't, put it back for another hour. Okay, so I definitely, maybe I'll do a vlog trying that, Minnie, so we can, Ali, so we can teach the viewers who might be interested. What a great way to save money. And also, I would think by melting it, are you sterilizing it? That would be a question that I know some people are very funny about. If lipstick is older, then it becomes, less sterile or whatever. How many of you reuse your candles that way? I've got, those big 3-wick candles that just, look great to start with, but really are a pain after they get about halfway down. And what I do is I just shave them and I make smaller candles out of them. And I'm looking forward to being able to do that here once I get furniture and things. And once I got all the boxes unpacked. It's also great to make a customized color. Yes, people ask, it's a lovely color of lipstick. What is it? I make my own. I like that. Yeah. And that's what I do. It's like, now, seeing as you're here, Ali, I would like to ask a question because you obviously have knowledge. And so I believe does Jodie, which is, what is it in mood matches that makes it change the color? Now, what is in it that makes it change color? All right, so Jodie's saying, I thought she'd probably have an answer. The oils can turn rancid if too old. If it smells off in the first place, remelting it is not going to help. That's good. Hi, Brenda. Hey, Brenda, thank you so much for your input on the vlogs this week. I've really enjoyed your input. Thank you. It's so funny. I go, oh, there's Brenda again. Right, what's she going to help me with? So I really wanted to tell you I so appreciated your comments. I'm actually getting to look forward to them now. Okay, where's Brenda? Yeah. So, all right, so this is really good. So we know how to save money on makeup. We know how to save money. All right, the grocery store, number one, I think everybody that's done it agrees, if you have the ability to order your groceries online and not go into the store, do it. It will save you money. The other thing is, somebody was saying this to me, I don't know whether it was Beth or somebody else, but start with the specials. If you start with the specials, try not to get tempted. But the thing is this, if you're buying meat, buy whatever is on special this week, right? That will save you a load of money. And I personally believe buy a roast, because a roast ends up in so many different meals later. You know, it's like you cook it once and it's cooked. You can slice it and have it as deli meat. You can, you know, some of it I put into chunks and I have it for, you know, a stew and so forth. So, you know, a roast actually ends up being a very economical way of buying meat. You know, if you know, for example, if you're buying pork, you know, buy a pork tenderloin and just, you know, cook the whole thing if you want to, and then just, you know, cut it up into meal-sized pieces. It's, you know, it cooks so beautifully in a slow cooker. It's really, and you can end up, and normally when you buy tenderloin, there's two of them. So I cook both of them at the same time and then cut them up. I think, so in the grocery side, let me think, where else am I saving money? Jody. Jody is the expert in saving money on groceries because, as some of you know, Jody went from a 2-income family to having cancer and both of them coming off work to deal with her illness. So you imagine the different ways she had to adjust. All right, so Ali's saying, I occasionally make videos for Nana about different makeup hacks or tricks. Next time I do one, it could be the lipstick trick. And you can send it to me and see. Absolutely, and I'd gladly share it with my viewers, Ali. Okay, so mood matcher lipsticks all have a pigment that reacts to the skin pH uniquely for each individual. I want to tell you that I thought that mood matchers were really expensive lipsticks, except they do stay on for the longest time, Jody. You know, I'm amazed. Whereas, you know, I can tell whether this is mood matcher, by the way. I dug out the bottom of mood matchers and stuck them in this one. But I am amazed how long they last. And they actually my go-to if I'm doing a broadcast 9 times out of 10, because I know they will last the whole broadcast. Whereas if I wear a regular lipstick, by the time I've done the broadcast, you know, it's gone. So that's interesting. So I can't hack that one. Rats. I was looking for a hack on that one. I thought I must be able to make my own, surely. Research is required, Jody, no spare time. Now, I wanted to give a heads up to Jody on choosing not to panic this week. She didn't fall into the temptation of panicking. Let me tell you what happened. Jody is in the US, for those of you who are not, this is important. And as you know, with the current administration, no names mentioned, they are doing a lot of things to medical stuff, and they are cutting back a lot of things. And unfortunately, they are cutting back a lot of things for people in need. And that really gets me very angry, and I don't mind saying that. But listen to what happened. Jody, up until this week, had the ability, through her medical plan, to get transportation to get to her appointments. That would include an appointment for pain management. You know, she is a cancer survivor, and she suffers from lymphedema, and she suffers from fibromyalgia. She has a lot of pain and has to go once a month to an appointment to have her pain medication prescribed. That is not something she chooses. That's something she has to do. And by the way, they are on a very limited budget and they don't have a car. Did I mention that Jody also cannot walk easily, so cannot use public transport? Now, I must admit that in Canada, our public transport actually now is mandated to have wheelchair access, which I think is, makes a lot more sense, right? Because nobody should be punished for being in a wheelchair. So the interesting thing is that Jody suddenly got notification that starting immediately, I believe, transport will no longer be part of what she can have on her plan. And Jody obviously reacted the way any of us would when we go into a cycle of loss. All right, I think we've all got this one pretty clear on our heads. Jody, am I correct that the first thing, the first thing was denial? I'm pretty sure you started off going, what? No, that can't be true, right? The second one was anger. More than likely, then I'm sure that you had a good cry if you're human. And then you went into acceptance. And that was what can I do? Because being in denial is not going to change it. Being angry is not going to change it. Being sad is not going to change it. Acceptance is not going to change it if you don't answer the question, what can I do? And what amazed me was how quickly Jody went through that cycle on such a big issue. She did not stay in victim. She literally, within a matter of hours, had gone straight out of victim, maybe less, I don't know. She'll tell us, I'm sure. Straight out of victim and going, okay, I need to make a plan. Jody, I was so proud of you because this is unfair and you know it and I know it, but being unfair doesn't change it, right? You've got to do something to change it. Right. And Jody's saying she was rapid cycling, that whole grief thing, between anger and denial and sadness. And she was just rapid cycling it backwards and forwards. Yes. But, the incredible thing, Jody is saying, and she's got it now, what does staying in victim mode do? It wastes time. Time you could be spending finding the answer to your current problem. So I believe, Jody, and I've got to say this, I believe there is somebody in your community that can help you. Okay? Niesh is saying, and I was so wanting to be a citizen of the US to get better healthcare. can you all petition for it to be reinstalled? No, it's not about that. And Nyasha's saying, I'm being angry. So, Nyasha, you being angry is not helping Jody. You understand that. And I appreciate the fact you feel for her. I understand that. But the truth is, what's going to help Jody is that she does something about it. And I have a feeling, Jody, in my gut, that this has to do with somebody at church. I keep saying that to you, right? And, I would have Lionel go and tell the minister what you need. You need a monthly ride in a van that can take a wheelchair. That is what you need. And how often do you have to go to the doctor? Or is that one and the same? Is your primary healthcare person also the one that does the medication? I don't think so. I think they're two different people. Yeah, you see the difference in Jodie's mentality. She is no longer a victim in her life. Listen to what she says. Nyasha, I'm sending you a hug, right? She's saying, I will find a resolution. It angers me for all involved, right? This is not just about it's happening to Jodie. It's happening to everybody across the US, probably, or definitely everybody in the plan that Jodie had. All right, and maybe in all of New Hampshire or all of the US for all we know. It's being taken away from more than just Jodie. All right, so she goes once a month for the pain management, and she goes to her primary care physician once every 6 months. Okay, this is good. Nyasha, good that you can see that, right? You getting angry is not helping Jodie. Coming up with possible solutions is what's going to help Jodie. Several states are affected, right? So this is not, they're picking on Jodie. This is the new healthcare system, and it's going to get worse. Jodie, you know that, and I know that. If that man gets back in power, it's going to get worse. When I say back in power, if he continues to be in power, it's going to get worse because that's where he's going to cut. So he can feed more tax breaks to the rich. And it makes me angry too, but it is what it is. You know what else I would do? I would have now, when the weather gets better, I would have Lionel go to all the motor repair shops. See if anybody there has got one that came in for a repair and the person didn't have the money to pay for the repair. And let them know what you need. All right? Let them know what you need. You are looking for a van that's capable of being a van for a wheelchair. That can be converted into a wheelchair. I think getting a ramp attached to one is probably the easier thing. And that you don't have the money and you're looking for something to make a plan because your medical's just been taken away. And preferably, I would find a Democrat who owns a store like that. Because the chances are they're more likely to want to help you. But I could be wrong. So yeah, I think you've got to ask for what you need and explain what has just happened. Do you understand? There's going to be somebody in your church that has either the money to pay for you to do that once a month and will happily do so, or maybe the church will donate to help you do that. I'm trying to think of, There are people out there that have got enough money to be able to help you, and either by giving you a van or by funding you. And how much does that cost, Jody? I mean, if you take it in the real world, that's what I would look at. You see, I would say to get the cab that I need, that can take my wheelchair, is going to cost so much a month. Plus, say, add in at least one more trip every quarter, and that's going to cost this much. Put it all together and actually have Lionel say, we're looking for somebody who either can help us with a van or else could help fund us to the tune of $600 a year. Whatever that figure is, don't be embarrassed by it. Don't be upset by it. Just tell the truth. Because, there's going to be somebody that's going to be so sad to hear what happened to you. And they're going, and then I'd have Lionel break it down. That's 600 in a year. If there's any way that could come to us, at so much a month, we'd really appreciate it. Because we have no way of covering that cost. We are already on disability. The numbers are the numbers. And what I found out, Jody, that I've spent a lot of time working on charities and things. I cannot tell you how many times I've sat next to people that I know have got an incredible amount of money, right? And I would just quietly say, I got a problem. And they go, okay, Sal, what do you need? And I wouldn't bother with all the preamble. I go, I need $10,000 for somebody who needs to get to a pain management appointment every month. 9 times out of 10, Jody, I'm not joking, the person next to me would say, come to my office tomorrow. It'll be ready for you. And I go, thank you. And I carry on eating. Because that's how you talk to people who have big hearts and money. They just need to know how much. And by the way, 9 times out of 10, Jody, I didn't have to say the why. Because they trusted that if I was asking, it was important. And I remember one day I looked at the one guy that I was next to that I knew, had the power to help me. And I went, and he said, oh, it's a big one. And I said, mm-hmm. And he went, and I said, 25 grand. And he said, that's big. And I went, yep. And I said, do you want to know why? And he said, yep. And I told him. And Jody, I'm not joking, with tears in my eyes. He just said, I understand why you need it. Come by the office tomorrow, it'll be ready. And it was just like, how many times can I hug this person, right? That's exactly what he said, Jody. If Sal is asking, he didn't need to ask the why. He did at 25 grand because, he's got to justify that in a different way. But, the other thing was, I was smart about it too, Jody, and I'm certain you would be as well. I made sure that everybody that he helped that way, I made sure they kept in touch with him and kept thanking him and kept him up to date with what that help meant to them. I'd make sure that they wrote to him, sent him a card every now and then and said, 2 years ago, you funded me to go on a leadership course, and I know that you did it. And I just want to tell you what's happened in my life since I've done that. You see, I believe in rewarding good behavior. But there's also that point, yes, Jody, and that's why I'm saying that, if you can get the right person standing up to the congregation and saying, this is what we need, maybe the church can't do it. Maybe the church can't do it, but somebody in that congregation probably can. And you know, I've always said to you, Jody, if all else fails, go to the press. Right? This is a story the press is going to want to talk about. This is what is happening right now, and they want it prior to an election. And if you can get it into your local community paper, when I say your community paper, you know, the one that deals with your local area, again, how many more people are going to have a chance to read it and go, I can help? And today we also have the use of GoFundMe and places like that. I would go local before I go to GoFundMe. Yeah, you know, this is time to let go of your ego. And I don't think we ought to do that because it would be embarrassing. People know us. And I'm going, I wouldn't go there. I'd go, this is an important story right now. And I've said to you many times, Jody, I was in the publishing business, and you know what they always say. If it bleeds, it leads. In other words, if you've got a story that's going to touch people's hearts and their hearts are going to bleed, it gets a lot of coverage. It's likely to get a picture with it. It's likely to end up on page 3 or, you know, higher up. It's not going to be lost in later down. If it bleeds, it leads, all right? Because people love to read about these things happening and they love to help. The other thing is, you know, I would have Lionel join, if he doesn't already, you know, think about, mind you, that costs money, but I'm thinking about, you know, some association that, or maybe he knows people that are in Rotary or knows people that are in Kiwanis or any of those service organizations where they help people in different ways. You know, make sure they know what you need. All right, so listen to what Jody said. My heart is hurting for everyone in this situation with zero notification to make arrangements, right? This is not that they had 6 months warning to make a plan. This was like starting now. It is horrific, Jody. But I want to give kudos to you for taking it and dealing with it instead of just staying angry, that you used that anger to fuel your intention to get an answer. There is an answer, you've just got to find it. Jody, I know you're calling for me to do the countdown, so let's do that right now. As soon as my tablet decides to agree. All right, let's do this. Here we go. You have got 10 months and 7 days to the American Thanksgiving. And for those of you in Canada, we have just 8 months and 3 weeks. Yay. Except I'm probably going to be eating turkey this week. Right? For those of you who celebrate Easter, you have 2 months and 18 days. For those of you like me who are waiting for spring, by the way, I went to go look at the gardens, and I can see that there's parsley there still alive after the snow, and I saw thyme, I think. Now, what's the prickly one? When I say prickly one, it's got, it looks like a fir tree. I know what that is. Rosemary. Rosemary? Pink. Anyway, I can see herbs already coming up that were planted before. So, you know, I'm going to do that. And when I go shopping, I'm going to allow rosemary. I got there eventually, right? So I'm already, when I go shopping, and I will go into a store because I want to pick up some seeds and get those ready for my herb garden. Daylight savings time is just 44 days away. It's just over a month away. Can you believe that? That's so exciting. Lent. I've added it, Jody. Lent is just 1 month and 2 days away. Yeah, I know Mercury in retrograde is 24 days away. I don't want to think about that. Valentine's Day is only 20 days away. Isn't that exciting? And Valentine's Day will be my first day out of debt. For those of you who don't know, the reason I sold my house was so that I could get out of debt. And so February the 14th, Valentine's Day, will be the day that I do not owe anybody anything, because I will take the money, pay for this completely out of it, and then I will cancel out my Visa card. And for at least 24 hours, I will try to stay completely out of debt. And then part of what I plan to do is to work really hard at paying off my credit card every month. That's a really big one for me. So it's just 18 days away, I will be out of debt. Isn't that amazing? I'm really looking forward to that. So we know that we also need to think about Beth, because she's coming up for a second biopsy, or for biopsy in early February. So we want to keep our thoughts and prayers there. Thoughts and prayers for Pat, Bill, and the family. Some of you may know that Charlie did pass a couple of days ago, or is it a day ago now? But he did pass, and it was very traumatic for them, obviously. And do we have anybody else that we're... Oh, yes, we have Kimmy's husband. Kimmy's husband had a stroke, but as you probably saw on the Facebook page, if you follow that, that he is doing much better. I think he still has a little bit of work to do on his left side, but he's doing much better. And so that is wonderful. For those of you who know that I've been a little concerned about how quiet it is in this neighborhood where I am and in the house, and why I want to have a phone in every room, those sort of things, you do understand that when you have a stroke, the amount of time between having it and getting help determines your recovery. So if nobody finds out that I had a stroke for a day, I might never recover from it. Or, and that's why I'm pretty much on a mission to make sure that I make the sort of friends who are going to want to make sure I'm okay every day. I don't need them to come in the house, but when you drive by, did you see that the blinds are up and I'm active? Because, or when you drive by at night, are the blinds still up when they should be down? And if so, maybe check on me. So I thought this one through, but part of me realizes now this is something I need to organize. Now, did any of you see the vlog where I talked about the fact I had ordered a gray bin and a yellow bag for my recycling? I see they delivered the gray bin. Not sure what it's for. I have to study. But I think it's, I don't know. I don't see a yellow bag, but it might be stuffed down in it. So anyway, one step at a time. I've now got a gray bin. Haven't the foggiest idea what it does, but I will do by the time I do tonight's broadcast. So for those of you who have been watching, I hope this has helped a little bit. I hope it's made you think about what can you resist. Do you really need to buy Starbucks coffee, or can you buy the ground coffee and make your own at a cheaper price? Or like myself, the way that I did it is in my cupboard there, I actually have a blend of Starbucks and Folgers. You see, I buy both and I mix them. and so this is like, I can do this. I still have that taste, but it's not perfect, but it's near enough. So, you know, I look at it and I'm always looking at how can I do this better? And by the way, I thought it really interesting that I kept saying, you know, I'm going back to my home to collect this, that, and the other. I find it really interesting. It took a week for me to bring the Keurig here and not leave it at the other house. And I realized then that I said I need to bring the Keurig home. And, you know, it was interesting because I thought, okay, it's taken a week, but now obviously my brain is calling this home. And that is the other place. It took a little while. And considering, you know, that it's empty and I don't have my stuff, I was, all right, now I want one other thought because I know you guys care about me a great deal. I was thinking that as I'm used to sleeping on the futon now, that I might do something really strange. I might have them bring the furniture in, but store the boxes that I know I've got so many of, the ones that, you know, won't fit into the storage room or the shed. I know I've got huge storage under the deck. If you think about it, there's 29 foot of storage under the deck. But for that, I would need to put things in plastic bins so that they're protected from moisture. So that is another possibility. But I think I might just load the spare room and my bedroom up with boxes and keep the rest of the house tidy. And then just give myself a year of sleeping on the futon if necessary until I can work my way through the boxes. I was going to put them all in the flex room where I'm sleeping at the moment. And I thought, you know, I don't think I want that loaded up with boxes. I think I want that clear so I can construct, you know, the cubey things and everything else that I want and start putting things away slowly. It's interesting. Yasha's saying that she thanks for the information. The fact that I keep my labels for putting onto different things again. Yes, you know, it's such a simple thing. I really want to tell you it works. And yeah, get yourself one of these labeling machines if you can. And then when you take the labels off, keep them. Why? I'm sure I'm going to have a curry again. And I'm sure that I am going to have chicken soup again. And what's the other one I've got here? I've got more of them in the other house. You know, I've obviously got one shoebox with glues in it, and this has fallen off. And the other thing I do, Nyasha, just so you know, is when I put them on, I use the Scotch tape, removable tape, right? And I just put that over the top. Put it over the top of the label like that, and then it'll stick again. Got it? And normally I bend the end like that, Nyasha, so that it's always easy to pull off. Hope that makes sense. And if you need to use it a third time, Nyasha, I just cut the ends off, right? And then put another piece of tape. Very simple. But you know, I love these things, but the stuff that it does is very expensive. Or if you don't want to buy one of these, the other thing that works really well, I keep old business cards that people give me, and I just cut it like this and write it on, and then just use the tape. That works. You don't need a fancy machine. Or you've probably got craft paper because you're a craft person. You know, just take some craft paper and just make yourself some little labels. Pleasure, Nyasha. It really is. And so we all are tempted every day, and we all resist temptation every day. Every day of my life since January the 12th, 2012, I have resisted the temptation to smoke. Every day of my life, I resist the temptation to get angry at people. How many of you are working on that one? Every day of my life, I don't always succeed, by the way. Every day of my life, I resist the temptation right now to think I'm not going to be able to cope because the move is so overwhelming and there is so much about to land on my doorstep that I fear I won't have the presence of mind to be able to deal with. And that's why I'm thinking, at night, I think about how can I make this less stressful for myself? And I thought if I can put all those boxes into a couple of rooms and close the doors, I can choose to see them when I want to see them, right? Like that hour a day when I do the move stuff, I can choose to grab a couple of boxes, close the door again. Doesn't matter what else is in there. I can also organize those boxes in a way that when I need stuff, I can get to them, because that's what I will be doing, because they will have labels on them and I will know what's in them. So we all resist temptation. And if you want to have a happy life, that's part of how you do it. You keep the stuff that is negative and that you don't like out of your life. I know an awful lot of people that need to cleanse themselves of a few friends that they've got and make their lives happier. Right, and Jody is saying you are coping. You are doing it one step at a time marvelously and teaching us all in the process because yourself. It is my hope, I must say that, it is my hope that as you watch me struggle, and it is a struggle, I don't mind telling you, as I struggle through this, that you will see that I hope that you see I'm practicing what I preach. It's not that I am that put together that I'm not stressed out. I am. It's not that I am that perfect that I don't feel the fear. I do. It's just, as Jody's example was, I can cycle the fear for a couple of minutes or a couple of 15 minutes or whatever. But after that, I need to get on with getting it fixed, because emptying out that house is not going to happen with me sitting here going, ah! That is not going to help. What's going to help is that I do another run. And to realize that at the end, I might not have done enough. And that means that I will need more help from the movers, which means it will cost more money. So be it, if that's what it is. Aren't I lucky that for one little moment in time, I will have that money? And you see, I think I feel very grateful for that. I'm trying to minimize the extra by doing as much as I can. I also know that I understand why on the seventh day he rested. I get that now. You guys are awesome. I want to tell you that my life is a lot happier knowing you all. And have any of you ever wondered yet how I managed to do the closing and opening a door thing? Has anybody worked it out how I do it? I thought I would just quickly discuss that. Oh, well, hi there, Tal. Good to see you. Welcome. Yeah, and somebody else popped in. Risky came in. Hi, Rinsky. Good to see you there. So I thought I'd tell you how I do it, because it took me a while to work out how I was going to do it. Wow. Nyash is saying, I know I've mentioned this before, but I really don't know what depression is anymore. I can't believe it. Yeah, you see, you learned how not to stay depressed. You learned to do something. Don't sit and complain about it. Do something about it. And I am certain as you do, Nyasha, you're going to realize how many people do nothing but complain. They just don't do anything about it, right? They want somebody else to do something. It's called being a victim. All right, so here we go. This is what I do. On the screen that I'm looking at, there is a button that says end stream, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cursor over that button. And then I'm going to say goodbye and close the doors. Once the doors are closed, I'm going to press the button knowing that it's in the right place. Does that make sense? Is Jody going stealth? And when I start the broadcast, I get it all set up with my mouse ready in the right place. And I close the doors. And then when I start, I just click on it because I know that the mouse is in the right place. By the way, just another little trick I found is that there is this tiny little crack between the two doors. Can you see it? And if I angle this door just a little bit, I can see the button. You see, life is as much fun as you make it. And I find this fun. So resist what temptation you can. Resist buying what you don't need. It'll all make you happier. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, bye for now. Oh, there you are.